Well, if you're looking for trouble, I'm the man to see. If you're looking for satisfaction, it's satisfaction guaranteed. I'm as cool as a body on ice, hotter than the rolling dice. Send you to heaven, or take you to hell.
Welcome to Glasgow Apollo Live with Scott and Andy.
Good evening. Welcome to Glasgow Apollo Live with me, Scott MacArthur.
And me, Andy Muir.
Well done, mate. Well done. How are we doing? Welcome to the show again, folks. It's been a wee while. It feels like a wee while. Not been that long, but it feels like a wee while. How's your week been, Andy?
Tip top, mate. You know,
like
tip top.
Yeah, you've been wearing a mask all week, haven't you?
I have been wearing a mask.
Yeah.
I'm in a precarious, dangerous situation here.
Some things never change, mate.
I'm pooping my pants, man.
Yeah. Anyway, everybody, if you're tuning in for the first time, please make sure you stick your name and where you're tuning in from, because we like to say hello to you. Because everybody's starting to say hello in the chat already. Thanks very much. Right, what we're doing this week, it's still all changed this week, really. It's been a frantic week for both Andy and I, in terms of other stuff as well as this. So it's, last time I said this, I think the show went on for about 2 hours, Andy. So we're going to start with a tribute to who, and then we're going to go through the sort of the usual process we go through. But then for the first time, we're actually going to feature one of the artists that played on the Apollo stage, Danny Hines from Weapon. We recorded the interview a couple of days ago. It's about 30 minutes long, and I think it's pretty good, actually, Andy, isn't it? It's all right.
Not bad. Yeah.
It's a good interview. Yeah, he really was enthusiastic and really positive about the whole experience, and it was nice to hear his stories. So I hope you enjoy that when we get to that. And we're also going to talk about we've made a decision. It's a tentative decision on the get together. It's going to be in June, but we'll talk about that after we've done the first section, which I guess we should just dive into now, mate. To be honest, we lost one of the Apollo greats this week, didn't we?
We did.
Big Meat passed away, and I think, did they play the Apollo 3 times? I didn't have time to check, mate. Did you? Could you have a quick look while I witter? Is it twice? Well, I thought they played earlier as well. I thought they played in 79 as well or something. I thought they did. Anyway, and so it's we're going to start with a piece of music this week. But just before we do that, I see some people like this person saying, "Hello guys, Facebook user. If you are in the Facebook group, obviously this person is, could you click on that little link, and I'll put it in the chat actually. Here it is in the chat now.
I'll put it in the chat.
We've done that already. Well, it's back in again. If you can click on this that's in the chat, and then just click, and your name will start to appear. There's been an upgrade to the link between our system and Facebook, so it's deleted quite a few of the links that you'd created already, folks. So sorry for the inconvenience. There's nothing we can do about that, and we'd rather have your names in the chat. We really appreciate knowing who we're talking to and shouting abuse at. Not everybody, like our friend Boots here, is obvious because he puts his boots at every comment despite not having his name there. But so who have we got in yet?
You're quite right, mate. Meatloaf did play. It's 3 times, I think.
I thought it might have been. I thought it was. I've just had an inkling back in my mind. So Chris is in. Hello, Chris. Nice to have you. You're obviously not gigging tonight, mate. Tony's in. Hi, Tony. How you doing? Good music lovers. You better believe it.
Well, I thought the way he says that, it's a bit. Is that like a backhanded compliment?
Well, you'd have to ask him. Anthony, what is it? Right-handed or is it real?
Scott and Andy musical.
All right, I get the vibe.
They're not included in there.
Cheryl's in. Hi, Cheryl Duncan. How you doing? A couple of Facebook users saying hello, guys. Hi, and Barry Booth is in. So the 5 contingent is in as well. So good to see you, folks. So Meatloaf. You went to those gigs as well, didn't you? We did. We went together, didn't we? 80.
Yeah, I think so. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember being at them. I thought they were great.
Oh, look who's in. Danny's in from Danny Hines has joined as well. Hello, Danny. How you doing? Thanks for joining us, mate. It's great to see you in from Stockholm. Can't wait to show the video, Danny. I don't think you've watched it yet, but I'm quite pleased with it. So Derek's here as well. We're all in, I think. Yeah, I saw them twice at the Apollo.
I think I did too.
I think you did.
It seems to be, when I look at the support bands, I go, yes, I saw them, and yes, I saw them.
It does help you remember, doesn't it? But, and I saw them. I think it was at Donington. Somebody will keep me right. When he had the Stookie on, you had the plastered leg. And I think I saw them supporting Marillion as well.
Also saw them at Deep Purple in
Nebworth. 85, wasn't it? 84, 85. Yeah, I remember missing that.
It wasn't appreciated that day, I don't think. His talents weren't fully appreciated that day, because
I can imagine. Yeah, it's funny because later on in his career, his voice obviously went, and he was really struggling. But the recording we've got tonight, bloody hell, the boy could sing.
Well, I listened to that. I listened to the show that's the Apollo show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's very good. There's a few bits where he's roaring from the very start. And the bit I always remember, I can't remember if it was 83 or 84 or whatever, or 85 rather. It was when he walked onto the stage before the gig when the curtains were still shut. And he started to shout at the audience, and the whole place was like rocking, and then suddenly it just went really quiet. And there he is roaring at the 3,000 choir. It was brilliant. So on the show before, we played Bat Out of Hell before, so I thought, right, I'm not going to play Bat Out of Hell again. And I went through the whole gig, and I've chosen 2 out of 3 ain't bad. One, it's a good song, but 2, there's a few bits in this song that are proper Glasgow. So listen to the crowd shouting in the background. It's really funny. And the Mackloaf, what was her name? The lassie, the Scottish girl,
Katie Mack.
Katie Mack. She gets a bit of abuse as well, but it's fabulous.
Mackloaf sounds like a Scottish.
A Scottish. So we're going to start the show off tonight by just remembering the big man and the band playing. This is from 1983 at the Glasgow Apollo. There's been a wee change in the way we do this as well, everybody. So fingers crossed this works, Andy. You know, we've had these issues before. See, it's stuck. I'll put us off.
Wait 1 second. I want to ask you a question. Have you noticed that she likes to take off her clothes? Do you know how many times she's taken off her clothes in this show? And do you know how much fun the crew has backstage? On behalf of myself and the Neverland Express, ladies and gentlemen of Glasgow, we salute you!
Bloody hell. Isn't that brilliant?
That's pretty good.
Bloody hell.
What a
Comments.
band.
What a band, yeah. I mean, one of the things that, I mean, everybody knows everything about Bar Out of Hell, but Todd Rundgren played guitar on it.
Yep.
Obviously superb, and it's where I first discovered Todd Rundgren. I'd never heard of him until I heard Bar Out of Hell. But the guy who played that night, I've forgotten his name. Somebody will tell us.
Bruce. It was Bruce Kulick.
Kulick, yeah, and he passed as well, didn't he?
Kulick. He died not recent.
Was that the guy that was in Kiss, or was it his brother that was in Kiss? Or
they were both actually. They were both Kulick brothers were in that band.
That band, yeah. So it was some band. But
I watched the Old Grey Whistle Test, Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
Oh, aye, yeah.
Jeez, man. Couldn't get away with that now.
No, you couldn't.
That was mental. It was great.
It was outrageous, fantastic. But the other thing that I quite like was when Jim Steinman, this was the last song he wrote for Bat Out of Hell. And when he was asked about it, he said, I tried to write a simple song with a twist that Elvis Presley could sing. That was quite cool. Really nice. But,
I could hear Elvis do the bit at the end.
Aye. You could. You definitely could.
Bob Kulick. Sorry, Bob Kulick.
Is that his name? Was it?
Scott Keaton is correct.
So Cheryl saying just stunning. There's a comment here about, and it's quite right. The stars aligned, didn't they? And you got Meatloaf and Steinman just on total form. And actually, Bat Out of Hell 2 wasn't bad either, was it? I mean, it was quite a good album.
I listened to Bat Out of Hell about 4 times this week. That live concert.
Yes.
That one.
Yes.
And Bat Out of Hell 2 and
there's a 3 as well, isn't there? I don't know if I know that.
I didn't listen to 3, but I listened to another one as well. The one with the massive hit he had. I've forgotten it.
He had quite a few of those. And here's the Facebook user saying,
I wouldn't do that. I would do anything for love, but I wouldn't do that. The album that was on, that was great.
Does that know the second album? I don't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Someone saw them in the big shed in Finniston. Yeah, he was great, but the SEC is a terrible place. Absolutely right. If I never see that place again, Boots is saying, thanks for the Ramones. We'll have a punk night sometime soon, Boots. Right, we'll have all your shouty nonsense with our 2 chords. We'll have a punk night, I promise. Anyway, it was brilliant, absolutely fantastic. But we could probably play the whole of the Ramones live set in 10 minutes anyway, couldn't we? That's probably
you could do. Mate, they do. I listened to the live album, the Ramones live album from 1977.
Yeah,
recorded at the Apollo.
Yeah,
I was listening to it and I went, "Oh, it's finished."
That's the whole song, that's the whole album. Oh, God, yeah,
25 songs. Bang.
There's a good quote here over on the YouTubes from Zesty Zerlonia. Thanks for sharing. I had goosebumps listening to this. Brought back memories when my then boyfriend, was pulled up onto the stage. Yes, it was him. I was the fan. He just went with me and got hauled up and strummed the guitar. Lucky bassa. The surge of some spell mistake here. The surge caused everybody to surge towards the stage. Me standing feet away from the wall of death, then getting crushed up against it, isn't something you forget in a hurry. No. I can actually hear myself shouting "wow" at one point, and I can hear me singing at the beginning of 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad. I'm totally blown away. I'd love a copy of this recording. It's on YouTube's. But that's lovely. Absolutely brilliant. But every time we played Meatloaf, we always got an amazing.
Everyone had, well, apart from Boots there, everyone had a copy of Bat Out of Hell.
Boots bought it and scratched it just so it had a wee bit of edge to it because he's a punk. Yes, Pete, we can see you. Hello. You're over there on the YouTubes. We can see you coming through loud and clear. Thanks very much for joining us tonight. How do you follow that?
Say thanks very much and close the stream down.
Absolutely. So how we're going to follow that is a slightly different way of doing this bit.
And can you tell me again how it is different?
Well, what we're not going to do, right? We're not going to go through the whole list, right? Because we've done that. This is our 53rd show. We don't need to go through the whole list again. Even though you and the professor have got all anal about getting it down to the right, sort of correct to the nearest molecule, right? And therefore it is going to be different to what we did this time 52 weeks ago. But no, right?
I'm not going to get my in-depth analysis of Max Bygraves.
Well, I was looking forward to that, right? I think you tried it last year, didn't it? It wasn't very good last year. Do you want to try again, or that probably won't work?
I've gave up.
But right in that list, I mean, I'm sure some of you were at some of these gigs. I think a lot of us were at the Sammy Hagar gig and the Scorpions gigs. And I remember, I tell you what, I remember most about those gigs was Grand Prix that supported Sammy Hagar, because I really love them, and I think he's a great singer. Great singer. I would have liked to have seen. Actually, I guess almost an admission. I'd quite like to have seen T-Rex, because
actually, can I say something?
You certainly can.
No,
here he goes. Look, always got a serious look on his face.
I'm just going to say, if you want us to do the rundown, then we will do the rundown. If you don't want us to do the rundown, we won't do the rundown.
Not this week.
Not this week. Yes,
we'll be on for 4 hours.
Yeah. Well, this is a short list, mate. There's only 29. Only 29 folk here. Yeah. Well, when I looking at the list there,
I'll put it back up for you. There you go. Look there.
I've got it there. I've got it. I can see it.
Yeah.
The Clash obviously stands out there.
Yeah.
Big gig for them. 2 nights they played, 21st and 22nd. And the Ramones, like I mentioned. We mentioned that earlier, but that was a different gig. Slade would have been a belter. I'm just going to run down, mate.
He's going to do it. He's going to do it. He can't help himself.
No. Actually, I did. I listened to. Have you heard that the Ultravox album from
Which one?
This time? Oh, I forgot what it's called.
Is that with that great guitarist, Midgear?
No, he's not in it. He wasn't in it. It was
before him.
Joined.
All right, okay.
And it's a weird album. It's like David Bowie-ish. Well, it's a David Bowie. And it's kind of proggy. I think you might go.
Oh,
hints of prog.
Interest, yeah.
Hints of different from Ultravox of like 80s Ultravox. Right. Way different. Acoustic guitar and it's odd. It's a different band, basically. Band. Yeah, it must have Midge joined and went, nah. He must have no. We're just gonna do this. And they did, and they became superstars.
Yeah.
So can't fault them for that.
No, not my cup of char.
Yeah, well that Sammy Hagar gig's on the YouTubes. I wish the Grand Prix set was on YouTube.
I know.
Because I listened to the Sammy Hagar gig yesterday. It's good. I remember when I didn't go to that gig, but I remember getting the recording the week after, I think, from Tom Russell, I think, probably. And I played it a fair bit, and I always never could understand how the drummer did Whole Lot of Love, because I'd never really seen a drummer drum properly. And then when I saw it, I saw someone play Whole Lot of Love, and I went, all right, okay. He's keeping the hi-hat going with his foot. Why? What? I don't know. Anyway, that's just me. But Grand Prix would have been a great, because they just released Samurai then.
That's right. Yeah.
And I listened to Samurai yesterday too. Good album. Good. And So. And I listened to Hall Notes.
There's Hall Notes.
Yeah. Well, you should listen to that album. There's 2 songs on there, right? There's a song. It's called Beauty on the Back Street, right? The album's called that.
Right.
And there's a song called. I was just playing it, and there's a song called Bad Habits and Infections. Mate, it's not what I'm needing right now. Not what I'm needing. It's all about getting infected. So, but there's another song called Winged Bull, right?
All right, okay.
I think they must have been listening to Led Zeppelin.
Aye. Sounds like
it's a great song. It's a great song.
There's Chris is saying online here, he went to see John McLaughlin, great guitarist. It was pretentious pish, in my humble opinion. The orchestra.
All right.
I saw John McLaughlin with Brian Jones, the great blues singer and mouth organ player, Radio 2 radio host for a while, at a church in Stone. Is it Brian Jones? Paul Jones. At a pub down the road, Chris, and it was brilliant. McLaughlin was just extraordinary. He was playing a 12-string acoustic all night. He didn't put it down all night, and it was just amazing, absolutely mental.
He also Derek says he says the first 3 Ultravox album with John Fox on vocals. It doesn't sound like John Fox on this, Derek. It's not like. Doesn't sound to me. It doesn't sound like John Fox. Maybe he changed the style to be more like. Did he kind of sound like Brian Ferry a wee bit? I'm getting mixed up with him and David Sylvian of Japan. Maybe I'm getting mixed up. Yeah. Oh, I did listen to the London Calling album.
Yeah.
Some odd songs there.
I agree.
There's a song called Jimmy Jazz. I mean, I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn for Clash fans, but it's just a gigolo, really.
Aye.
It's good. So it's fine. It's fine. And there's lots of Bruce Springsteen there.
Yeah.
In there. Yeah. And Mikey Dread. Listen to Mikey Dread. That was good too.
Mikey Dread's brilliant. I love him. I always liked him. I had my first ever experience, and actually officially my last ever experience with an acid tab at a Mickey Dread gig in East Kilbride. My drink got spiked. I think I've told you this before. And I ended up upstairs at the Olympic Ballroom, I think it was called. EK people keep me right. I think it was the Olympic Ballroom. Oh dear, no. So
upside down, hanging from a rafter.
Oh, it wasn't good. That room was moving. I'm telling you, that room was moving. Did not like it at all.
And that Black Sabbath gig, and with Wild Turkey, I didn't realize Wild Turkey were a lot of Jethro Tull at some point.
Aye.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. And Bernie Marsden also played in them, not on this tour, but later on. But I had a wee listen this morning.
Yeah,
I'll need to give it some further attention. Although
good outfit.
Probably not. Yeah. But yeah, I would have gone to see T-Rex if probably.
Yeah.
If
it went a bit. It all went wrong, I think. But I would like to see great photographs from those gigs, isn't there, from the Apollo?
Oh yeah, there is. There's some great shots with that overhanging balcony thing. No, we stage sort of thing.
Olympia in UK. So I didn't go. I was close. I thought it was the Olympic Ballroom, Chris. That's good. And someone's saying over on Facebook, it's Boots. John Fox solo stuff is brilliant. I don't know if I've heard it, Boots, to be honest. I need to have a listen to see, because I'm not sure about it, if I've heard it or not. But
Derek's asking me what was the album. Hold on a minute, Derek.
Do you mean you don't know, Derek? That's very disappointing.
Well, he doesn't know what I'm talking about.
But
I don't really know what I'm talking about. It was Ultravox.
But Pete's World TV over on YouTube, not sure he was a big fan of the way the Clash went. I agree. I mean, it's each to their own. He says Summer sold out, Strummer sold out. Well, you're probably right, but I don't know. I just thought they were a reggae band that had a bit of punk in them rather than a punk band that did a bit of reggae. Anyway, that's quite contentious sometimes. Right. Anyway, right now let's just move on, because if we don't, we're not going to get through all of this wonderful stuff we've got to do tonight. So back to the script, Mr. Mayor. Back to the script. Right. The other thing I'm going to announce tonight, now it's tentative because I'm waiting for the venue just to confirm. We had a discussion a couple of weeks ago about when we're going to do the get together. So get your diaries out. It's going to be on June the 17th, which is the Friday. We're going to have it that weekend, as long as we can get Lauder's Bar or another bar to confirm. The Lauders have said it should be all right, but I'm just waiting for it in writing. So I'm only saying tentative at the moment. I'll announce it properly, hopefully tomorrow, but it could be later on in the week. But that's what it's looking like, folks. So the 17th of June, it's a Friday night. I know it's later than we hope, but I'm hoping that wee Nippy's sort of relaxed stuff enough now, and hopefully it'll continue like that. But again, if there are any problems, we've got vulnerable people in this group. I'm not going to take any risks, and Andy and I will cancel it, postpone it again if we need to. Hopefully not, mate. I really hope we get to go ahead this time, and you'll be there on the phone, like some.
Yeah, I'll be there, dark in midwinter. Under my duvet.
It'll be like one of these sci-fi things where you're like a hologram walking around saying hello to everybody.
A wee robot, dude.
But who's given me abuse already? June the 17th. Oh, yeah, good. I hope you're coming. And wear your new t-shirt. Wear your new t-shirt. That would be brilliant. Right. Oh god, there's a lot of stuff going on in the socials tonight, mate. I'm just going to hit the next bit here. If we don't, we're not going to get through this. Right. As always, we're going to continue doing this bit. Right, Mr. Muir. How have the socials been this week? I mean, I think it's been
the socials. They've been
unbelievable. Yeah,
good stuff. Well, this week, Facebook's telling me we've got 97 new members, but I think they're a bit slow in the figures. I think we've got over 100 now. Over 100 now this week. So that takes us to 10,851, which is amazing. Thank you very much for joining in.
Getting to the 11,000.
Oh yeah, well,
a couple of weeks.
But we're not in it. We're not in it for the likes, mate. We're not in it, obviously. Obviously, we're not in it for the likes. Like and subscribe. Okay. 1,074 posts. This is members, just members now. Posted and commented, which is amazing, and 34,349 views in a week, so that's pretty good. But overall, visitors and members viewed 62,000 odd, 62,500 times. So it's amazing, because I see a lot of people just chipping in with a wee post now and again. But they're not members, but it's fine, it's good. They're just maybe forwarding stuff on. So there's like 100. There was 100 posts, which is great.
Great.
There's 1,800 comments and 6,683 reactions. Sorry. Yeah, it's great. It's good. It's good. There's some good stuff. We're going to talk about my favorite story this week.
I think so. There's one of them I want to talk about. You go first.
Well, we're probably going to talk. Well, the one I'm going to talk about is when the guy, the tea cozy moment.
Oh, it's brilliant. On you go. You tell it. It's fantastic.
Well, I'm sorry I didn't get your name, but there's a story one of the members put in. It was someone was saying about going backstage or looking at stuff, and this guy said he played air guitar. Him and his mate played air guitar on the stage one day, and so he's up there doing the air guitar, and then his boss said, "Ho!" I'm paraphrasing here. "Ho! Get that hose up the stairs," because the roof was on fire. He was a fireman, but he took some time out of his day to whip out a wee air guitar solo on the Apollo stage. Him and his mate. It was like a Bill and Ted-esque episode. Probably two guys turning around going.
It was Harry McKean and his mate was John Sheridan, and it was in 1987, just when the obviously the place was starting to fall apart, and it was the assistant ironmaster, wasn't it, that shouted at them? Yeah. Absolutely brilliant.
It's a sad story, a sad ending, but it was a nice story, a funny story. Yeah.
I wonder if that was the last person or the last time anybody did air guitar in the Apollo, because I remember there was that guy who posed at the building when it was knocked down. Remember, he was standing there with the guitar and one of the pictures. Yeah. I wonder if 87 was the last time anybody did the air guitar on the Apollo stage. I love it. I think it's like the Billy Connolly tea cozy You know, I'm always suspicious if someone is in a room with a tea cozy and they don't try it on. And I think it's the same for a lot of us. And I think you've got to do your air guitar when you're on the stage.
You rip out an air guitar solo.
It's really good. Let me just so oops, I hit the wrong button there. Didn't cut you all off there. I thought I had for a minute. So anyway, that was my favorite story as well. And as Barry said,
I like it. But there's heaps. There's a couple of guys that I saw. They both worked in Virgin, I think, Virgin Record store.
Yes.
And they hadn't talked to each other for nearly 30
I saw
years.
it, mate. I saw it. Yes, fantastic.
So they got back in touch, which is great. This is
absolutely. Was it 41 years? He said they hadn't spoken to each other.
Yeah, something like that.
It's just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. Good. So that was the socials. We're going to move on quickly because we've done 40 minutes already, and I really want to give us a good jump at this next part. One of the things that Andy and I have been looking at is ways of bringing different stuff to the show, and we're really keen, as you know, on this stuff to get fans to actually bring their stories and tell us what their stories are of the Glasgow Apollo. Now, on the 16th and the 17th of June, and probably the 18th of June, I'm going to be there with this camera, and I'm going to be chasing people around Glasgow who are wearing Andy's fantastic new T-shirts. Actually, Andy, somebody asked where they can buy the T-shirts in the chat there. Could you maybe stick it into the chat, mate?
Look at this. Watch what's going to happen.
Is it by magic? Has he done it?
As if by magic.
I can't see it yet. But,
okay.
So these new shirts these new shirts are going down a storm, aren't they? That's amazing. They're really good, though. I think you've done a cracking job of these, mate. Brilliant. And
they're all right.
There's a wee bit of punk there for boots. But anyway, so that's how you can hold them. But so if you do want to, it's still available. If you want help to make your own video, Memories of the Apollo, get in touch. If you look at the Facebook group, there's a link that you can book time in my diary, and I will do it. I'll film you and I will edit it for you. So it takes all the hassle away. We'd love to involve as many of you as you can. And we've got some more news on that coming hopefully next week, which is blowing my mind. I don't know what Andy feels about it. It's blowing my mind. There's some quite major news coming on that front, which we're really dead excited about, but I can't tell you about it yet. But anyway, however, there's another group of people that we haven't really thought about going through this show for the last year, and that's of the people who have actually played music on the live stage. And for the last few weeks, Andy and I have been putting feelers out to people to see if we could get some of the bands and some of the people that played on the Apollo stage to actually come on the show. And we're absolutely delighted to say that we did our first interview this week with the one and only Danny Hines. Danny Hines, you listening, Danny Hines? You'll know what I'm talking about in a minute, folks. Danny was one of the earliest people to get in touch with us on the show. He lives over in Stockholm, and he was in the band Weapon, who famously supported Motorhead in 1980. So we're going to give over to this interview. Unfortunately, Andy couldn't make it. It was 2:00 in the morning your time, wasn't it, when we did this interview?
Yeah.
So it wasn't quite possible. But I really hope you enjoy it. I think it's great. Danny is a lovely fella, and he genuinely loved the Apollo, and he loved you a lot. So I'm going to hand over now to myself, but it's the interview is with Danny Hines of the band Weapon.
And of course, when we hit the stage, and you looking out, and you see that balcony moving. It's just, I mean, it's phenomenal just to look around. I was thinking, Jesus Christ, it's going to collapse any minute. And we were just a support band.
I was there.
One of the things that Andy and I have been speaking about for a few months now is that we want to refresh what we do on the show. We want to do things differently. We've now done 50 odd shows, so we've been through the whole life cycle of the Greens and the Apollo. So rather than just doing the same thing every week, we're going to start doing something different. And one of the things that we're both really keen to do is talk to the bands that actually played on the Apollo or the Greens stage. We'll put out our network, and we've got about half a dozen set up already. But I'm going to start with somebody, and I'm going to blow some smoke up his arse here. But when we first started the website, Andy and I started about 20 years ago. We had a number of people contacted us, and I think the second person who contacted us was this guy who's going to come on this show. So it was a big boost to us when people started to get in touch with us, because we thought at the time, you know, we had no idea if anybody was watching, anybody cared. But when these bands started to contact us, it was brilliant. So I think the first person to contact us was Gary Newman, and the second person to contact us was Danny Hayes from Weapon. So I'd like to welcome Danny to the show. Danny, how are you, mate?
Pretty good, Scott, but I have to make a correction there.
Oh, right,
Danny
okay.
Hines.
Oh, I thought
As
it was
in beans.
That's a good start.
Isn't that a great start now? If I was a bit of a diva now, I'd just put the phone down and not talk.
Oh, well, if you were a bit of a diva, I'd just say, fuck off. You know, I must officially apologise. I won't say that again. I'll just call you Danny for the rest of the show. Forgive me, I'm sorry. That's a bad start. But I'm going to leave this in.
Just think Heinz beans. It's a different
Heinz
spelling,
beans.
but it's pronounced Heinz.
I bet you've said that to people before, Danny.
Once or twice, and usually in interviews.
Right, Danny Hines, how you doing?
No worries. I'm really good.
So, Danny, I said at the start that you were one of the first people to get in touch with us. What was it about the Apollo that made you interested in what we were doing?
Well, obviously, having played there, I mean, that tour we done, the Ace of Your Sleeve tour with Motorhead, you know, we done 32 dates. Going to Glasgow in the first place, you know, you're thinking, how the hell are we going to get down with the audience? Because that was one of our big concerns on the tour. You know, how would the audience react to us?
Yes.
But I mean, we had a great, with the exception of one or two gobby people along the way.
Yes.
We got a really good reception. But you know, hitting Glasgow was like, oh my God, how's this going to go? But our drummer at the time, Bruce Bislin, he's from Glasgow.
Oh, really?
And he was like, hey, yeah. He now plays with Andy Scott Sweet and has done for nearly 30 years. That's the reason he didn't come back into when we reformed Weapon. That's the reason he come back in, because he was earning good money there. Anyway, so we get to Glasgow to the Apollo, and you know, going on stage to do the sound check. You know, just looking out and seeing the first balcony kind of on level with the stage, and thinking, oh wow. Done our sound check, and of course when we hit the stage, and you looking out and you see that balcony moving. It's just, I mean, it's phenomenal. Just to look at it, I was thinking, Jesus Christ, it's going to collapse any minute. You know, and we were just a support band.
Yes.
So, I mean, it was, and of course, we got a great reception, thank God. But I mean, it's a great, the whole tour is a great memory. But playing that Apollo and, of course, Hammersmith Apollo for 4 nights.
Yes.
They really stick out, you know. I mean, we're all young kids as well, you know, first tour.
Yeah. What was it like being part of that new wave of heavy metal thing? Because, I mean, I was only 14, I think, when that happened. And it was like, I remember it being like, whoa, because the punk thing had come and gone. And then suddenly all these new bands, of which you were one, appeared. And as a kid, it blew my mind. How did it feel for you?
Well, it was strange because at the time we didn't see ourselves as part of that movement. You know, the movement was coming out. Just the name, the new wave of British heavy metal was coming out, and we're thinking, oh, we are part of that. A bit strange, you know, because we had Iron Maiden and, you know, Diamond Head and the likes of that. So, I mean, it was literally after the tour we realised, you know, we actually are part of this whole thing. And of course, then with the singles we released, double A side, Set the Stage Alight and Mad Mad World. You know, Set the Stage Alight went to number 2 in the Sounds heavy metal charts.
Brilliant.
New wave heavy metal charts.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a weird time. Great time. You know, there's some great bands out there. You know, it still is.
So how did you get the gig then? How did you get the Motorhead gig? It was 1980, wasn't it? I think that's right. 1980.
Yeah, we'd formed in the March under the name of Fast Relief, which I thought was a dreadful name.
Fast Relief, yes.
Fast Relief, you know where that's coming from.
Yeah.
And we changed the rhythm sections. I got in Bruce, as I said earlier, Bruce Bislin from Glasgow, and my friend Baz Downs, who sadly passed away last year. He's from Birmingham, and I said, well, we have to change the name. So another friend of mine, Bob Sawyer, known as Bob Angelo, who was also in Iron Maiden and Praying Mantis.
Oh, yes.
Close friend of mine. We had a band together. Our first band in London was called Snatch.
Right.
And we included
there's a theme developing here, Danny.
Yes. But it was Bob Sawyer on guitar, Baz on bass, myself on vocals, and a guy called Darryl Reid on drums, who also died a few years ago. There's a theme going on there as well.
There's our theme, yeah. I'd actually like to talk to you about that, Danny, because I think what you're doing on that front is tremendous. We'll come back to that if you don't mind.
Anyway, the band is called Snatch, and Bob always used this expression when something was good, that's a weapon. And I just, when we were looking for a name, I thought, that's a perfect name, and I fitted, thank God. Anyway, that was in the March, and we did some rehearsals, done a showcase gig for, well, we'd done a little gig, and we invited some people from the business down. And a guy called Laurie Dunn from Virgin Publishing came, and he liked what we said. But at the time, he had the other rhythm section, and he didn't particularly like them. So anyway, blah, 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 blah. We changed the rhythm section, done another gig, and we loved it. And he signed us to Virgin Publishing. Virgin used to own the venue in Victoria. Do you remember that?
I do, yeah. Gosh, yeah.
There was a big nightclub, and rock bands there as well. So we were doing a gig there one night, and a friend of mine, Hillary, brought down Eddie Clark. It wasn't to see us; it was just a night out. And he really liked us. Met him after the show, and he said, "I'll try and get you on the tour." And I was like, yeah, right. 2 days later, the rest of the band and the manager wanted to see us, so we put together a gig at the Music Machine, Camden Town.
Oh, another famous,
another famous place, yeah. And unfortunately, that afternoon, I don't know, something went on between us in the band. We're all just pissed off with everyone, and we're all on the old the sauce. So we had an argument, like, oh, fuck you do this gig, and that's the end of it. It's all over. Don't want to work with you assholes. So we went on stage, and we had this aggression came across in the show. It's like we didn't get two fucks for anyone. And during the show, some guy came up to the front of the stage with a pool cue, kept bashing the front of the stage.
Really?
And which pissed me off. Yeah, I took her off and smacked her off his fucking head. So we came off stage, and the immortal words of Lemmy: if anyone has that contempt for their audience, they have to tour with Motorhead. And that's how we got the gig. So they signed us up there.
Excellent. Well, there's your opening line for your autobiography, Danny.
Isn't it just? It was a great line. I always remember it.
Fantastic. And how when you were on the tour, was it a bus job, a van job? How did you get about the country?
Well, we had a 16-seater minibus, and our two roadies went with the Motorhead's crew. And all their backline. Right. So we were around in the minibus, and we only stayed in a couple of hotels with them because we couldn't afford it. It was mainly B&Bs for us. A couple of occasions that we did stay with them in the hotel. It was fucking mayhem.
I bet it was.
Mayhem. Well, great fun.
I'll come back to Motorhead in a minute. I'm quite interested to hear if you have any Motorhead stories. I bet you have.
Oh yes.
When you got to the venue, had you heard about the Apollo when you got there, the Glasgow Apollo? Had you heard about it?
Oh sure, yeah. Because Bruce being from Glasgow, and of course we'd read about it. Everyone talked about the stage and the balcony moving. So we knew all about it before I got there. Yeah, and it was a delight to play on. It really was.
The thing that's happened on this show, Danny, that Andy and I didn't expect during lockdown. We had 4,000 people in our Facebook group, which is not a bad Facebook group. It's all right. Cool. But we now have nearly 11,000 because during lockdown it just went mad. And I mean, this week we're recording this on the 27th of January, 2022. This week, we've had 100 new members to the group.
Excellent.
I mean, why did I don't know if it's Apollo related, but it's obviously something to do with lockdown or whatever. What do you think's caused that? Because it's really surprised us, Danny. Have you any thoughts on it?
I think probably the lockdown was a little bit, but I think mainly because of the likes of Facebook, people are hearing more about the venue. Yeah. And I mean, the bands that play there, everyone from A to Z. So I think that's the interest, particularly for younger people coming up.
Yes.
Who want to look into what happened back in the 80s and the 90s, blah blah blah. Yes. I think that's the thing. Definitely.
I think that could be right, actually. I mean, we do have a section of our audience, very special section of our audience that we take the mickey out of constantly. But there are a group of them under the age of 25, that come on. Oh. We've got quite a lot of young bands come on, Danny. They've obviously. It tends to be in the rock genre again. I mean, we've had guys come in from I think it was a European Status Quo tribute act that came to Glasgow and knocked it out of the park, and they were on chatting about it and all the rest of it. So we have had that a little bit, but it's a nice idea. I hope we get more of them because it's one of the things that I worry about. Maybe I'm just being daft, but I worry about music getting forgotten. I mean, I don't know if you know Rick Beato, one of the American YouTubers, but he said he was talking about Jimi Hendrix recently, and apparently Hendrix's whole catalogue has fallen off a cliff because people aren't buying it anymore. I mean, that doesn't make sense, you know.
But I think what could be the case there, Scott, is there was a lot of stuff released, you know, the family are releasing stuff, and a lot of it's not very good, you know. Although Jimi Hendrix is iconic and all that, a lot, you know, we just thrown out anything that could make money. And I think probably people are just pissed off for that.
One of the live albums they released to him was terrible. I mean, he was as high as a kite, and I'm sorry, I can relate to that. But okay, so you drive up to the side door at the Apollo, probably giving you too much information here, and you get out and you open the door. What was it like going in there? I mean, were you oh my God, or how did it feel? Can you remember?
It was a little like that. You know, we're finally here. Excuse me, I just some more. So we're finally here, you know. How the hell are we going to get down? That was my biggest worry. But that was like every venue I played with on Mountain Tour. It was like, how will we get down tonight?
Yes.
And as I said earlier, you know, the shock of going out there and seeing that balcony and the movement.
Yes.
And thankfully we went down well. We weren't bottled off.
Yes. And I have seen a few bands getting quite bad treatment at the Apollo. I
can imagine.
Can you imagine? I mean, I don't know if you know this, but you know there was no bar at the Apollo, so you couldn't have a drink. Now, there was a bar in the 1950s, but there wasn't one since the 60s and 70s. So I often imagine. I mean, it was chaos in the place. I can't imagine what it must have been like if everybody was drinking. Jesus, it would have been mental. You know?
I think they all done that before they came to the venue.
I think you're probably right.
Scotland.
There was a few famous pubs around there. There was one called the Burns House that towards the end of the Apollo's day, I was like 18, 19 when it shut. We used to go in the Burns House.
I said we went to one pub there, but I can't remember where it was. What it was called.
So you get on the stage, you play your gig, and it went doing well. That must have been a relief. Did you watch Motorhead?
Oh yeah, I watched them every night.
Did you? What was that
every
like?
Night, yeah, that was awesome. I mean, you know, on the first night of the tour, we played in Ipswich Goldman, and again we got there in the afternoon. I knew Lemmy kind of on and off over the years. We made a point before we went on tour to go and see their dress rehearsal. I think it was at Shepperton. And, you know, we made a point of going to the roadies and buying all the roadies a drink. So if you have the roadies on your side, you have everyone. Particularly for your sound and your lights and all that.
Yes.
So they were great. They treated us so respect. But yeah, anyway, the first night at Ipswich Goldman, first night of the tour, I went to the back of the theatre to listen to them sound check, and I have to say, when Lemmy hit the bass, I felt physically sick. This fucking, I swear to God, because it was so loud, and the boom hit my stomach. I thought, oh good Jesus. And they had about, I think I might be exaggerating here, but I think it was something like 2,500 watts on stage. Just the fallback.
Right. God.
So you can imagine what it was like out front.
Yeah.
But I watched them every night, and it was a great. I mean, the crowd loved them.
That era of Motorhead. I mean, I only ever saw the original Motorhead once. It was 82, which I'll play some music from later on, folks, on the show. That was amazing. I mean, the noise. And you're right about Lemmy's bass. It got right through you, didn't it? I mean, it really.
Oh, Jesus.
The other thing that I've noticed about, particularly you, Danny, I'd love to talk about the Weapons music in a minute if we could. One of the things that you have is that you seem to be connected to an awful lot of guys in the business. You've obviously got friends in various bands, etc., etc. There's photographs of you with Richie Blackmore and, you know, all the rest of it all over the place. Was there a closeness between the bands? Was that something that was happening back then? Is that different to now, or what do you think?
I think there was. I mean, you know, we were all doing the same thing. The likes of Richie Blackmore that I met later on in years in the 90s. But in that era, we'd all go to see one another. You know, if one of our friends would play the Marquee or something, because that was the big thing as well, playing the Marquee for the first time. You know?
Yeah, I bet it was.
I'm talking about the real Marquee, Wardour Street.
Yeah, Wardour Street.
I mean, that sticky floor and all that. But
yes.
Yeah, we really supported one another, you know.
And who do you think was apart from Weapon, of course, but who do you think was the standout act from that period in rock music?
Oh, I mean, there's so many that didn't really make it. I mean, obviously the others one was made, but they had and have great management. Stuck at the great heights, you know. Praying Mantis there, like I play with three of the guys in Praying Mantis and another band. Particularly the Troy brothers, Chris and Tino. You know, I think they should have made it then back then. But saying that now, the last 2 or 3 albums have been really, really good, and
Yes.
the current one is getting amazing reviews.
Right.
I think that's probably down to the singer they have now, JC from Holland.
Ah, right. Okay.
So
okay.
yeah, and I mean the likes of Diamond Head and all that. I mean they went to a certain level, but they didn't go all the way like that. But they're still going today. Girls
School. I saw Diamond. I mean, I love that. Obviously, I like that. Am I Evil song? It's a brilliant track. That is a great track.
That paid for Brian Tetler's house.
Did it?
Metallica covered that.
Yes, I remember.
He'll tell you that story as well.
Right.
Some good came out of it.
And I noticed actually. I noticed that he's got his battle jacket, hasn't he, with the weapon patch on it. That must be cool when you see him wearing that.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
I mean, he wears that a lot. Oh, James, on his tours.
I was watching them. They've been obviously through the mill a wee bit, Metallica, with their booze and their drugs and stuff.
Yeah,
There was a documentary on it. It was basically showing them rehearsing Whiskey in the Jar. Don't know if you've seen that one, Danny.
I haven't seen that. No.
Wow, it was brilliant. Yeah, if I get a minute, I'll send you it because it really was brilliant. And it kind of captured the moment brilliantly and how good a song that is. He says with his Thin Lizzy t-shirt on. But so tell me
about that one or my one. I'm wearing like vinyls.
Ah, very good. The guys in the group love their vinyl, so they'll appreciate that. That's for sure. So tell me about Weapon then. What happened then? You did the tour with Motorhead, and then what happened next? What happened to Weapon after that?
We come off that tour. We hadn't had a record deal. The single we released, although it was released through Virgin, it was a side company. It wasn't the main record company.
Right.
And we come off that tour, and they had our management had a small tour lined up for some small clubs, about 8 or 10 dates. And they were holding out for a record deal. There were several companies interested, but they kept holding out. We were saying, let's fucking sign. We need to get, something behind us.
Yeah.
So we can go back out on another big tour and, work on what we'd achieved with Motorhead.
Yeah.
Keep the climb. Mm-hmm. And it just got to a point where they were fucking us about, and I just said, what's the point in this?
Yes.
We weren't then earning any money. We weren't doing anything. They wouldn't even pay for recording for us anymore.
Gosh.
So I just got to a stupid point. I mean, we recorded the whole album.
Right.
At Virgin Studios,
Yes.
And we couldn't get a release on it.
Oh, dear.
So as they say, the band imploded. And I reformed it with a different lineup, but it didn't feel right,
Yes.
We went out and it wasn't the same song. I called it.
Right.
We left it then till I think it was 2005. A small record label got in touch with us and said, they wanted to release the album that we recorded, never been released. And we got a hold of the tapes and they put that out and it sold really well. And then we got an offer to play the Headbangers Ball in Germany.
Right, famous.
In 2005, which would have been our 25th anniversary.
Wow.
So we got the original lineup together for that.
Right.
And played it. And I had a great time. It was great fun to do it with the guys. And when we come off that, of course, Bruce is working full time with Andy Scott, and earning really good money. Yes. So he wasn't into reforming the band. And poor old Baz, he'd been dealing with bad health for many, many years.
Right.
As I told you earlier on, he died last year.
Yes.
So he wasn't up for it. So me and Jeff Summers, we decided, let's go and write some songs and see how it goes. So we went and wrote some songs, and in 2010 we thought, let's go for it. Let's get a new lineup, and that's what we did, and released "Rising from the Ashes" in 2012, which got really good reviews.
Yes. I like the video as well. The video's good.
Yeah. And it was great having Claire Cunningham. Jesus, Claire Rogan. Another one. Claire Cunningham, it was an Irish lady who'd been playing with a Swedish band here, Thundermother. She'd done guest vocals on the tracks with me.
They're a good band.
Good. Yeah. Well, a completely new band now again. They had 3 or 4 different lineups.
Have they?
They do well. They do well.
Right. Okay. And why the Weapon UK change the name? Was that contractual?
No, that's not a bloody story. In 2012, a friend of mine sent me an advert. He's on tour in America. Actually, Uriah Heep, I think it was.
Right.
And he said, "No, I see you're playing over here." I'm like, "I wish." And they sent me this advert, this band, and I contacted the band. I said, "No, what's the story here, guys? Using our name." "Oh, we had that, and blah 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 blah." And I said, "Well, you can't really use it." And I didn't take it any further, stupidly. Meanwhile, their manager went to the registration place for names. I'd registered in 1980, but I hadn't renewed it. And he went to the company in London and registered the name under the radar. Then he sent me what they called them, cease and desist, whatever you call them.
Yeah.
Telling me I couldn't use the name.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah. And then, that's a bit fucking stupid. We've had that since 1980.
Yes.
Said, well, the only way around, you said, if you put UK, but the UK had to be in the same size font as Weapon.
Right.
You couldn't put in a little card, underneath.
Yes.
So we had to do that, unfortunately. But he died a few months ago, so
oh gosh,
I might be able to retrieve the name.
Yes.
Gosh. But it was a real pissing, because having to use that like in the UK.
Yes.
Anyway.
So that
was 212.
That's awful. I mean, honestly, people just behave like idiots, don't they? Sometimes.
But funny enough, I googled Weapon, and I found 5 bands using it.
Did you?
Including a fucking Portuguese folk band. It's just, what the fuck's going on? I know it's a great name, but folk band.
Brilliant. They don't have that good story. You should do a tour of the 4 weapons or the 5 weapons, all the different bands together.
5 weapons go west.
Yeah, we'd be there. We'd turn up, Danny. Definitely. So,
but actually, sorry, the band actually, the manager of that band, they about 4 or 5 months later they split up, but he still had the name. Something I can look into another time. Anyway, so that took us up to 2012, and then we done Ghosts of War released in 2014, which also got good reviews.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, last year the drummer, he'd been working with Darren Lee, Les McKellen, basically Rollers.
Yes.
And he was getting loads of work with him, and decided he'd go that way. So got a new drummer in, and then my bass player Tony, he's battling bloody prostate cancer at the moment.
Oh gosh!
So he had to step down, and then Jeff, who I played with for 41 years, I've been friends with for 41 years, we parted company in August. So at the moment, I've got a completely new band,
right?
Mostly Swedish guys. Well, Tony will come back once his treatment is finished.
Yes,
Tony will come back into the frame. So that's kind of brings us up to date with all that stuff.
Today, are you gigging over there then? Are you gigging in Stockholm?
Well, the only gig I have been gigging with another band. I've got my own little band over here. Yeah, but of course because of the COVID, all their weapon stuff had to be cancelled. Except for in November we done Winter Storm.
Oh, did you? Right.
Yeah, that was our first gig back, and I was so ill. I had this chest infection.
Oh no!
And I've been on tablets and all. I was in the hospital on the Tuesday, and the first gig was on the Saturday.
Oh God!
And I was fucking dying going on stage. I thought, how am I going to get through this? But it's incredible how the all adrenaline kicks in.
Aye.
It does. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a great reception from the crowd there. Yeah. Really, really good gig. And then we done the Bannermans on the following night, Sunday, which was okay, but Sunday wasn't a good night to play there. And
is that the place in Edinburgh?
Edinburgh, yeah.
It's a great place. Yeah, great. I was there 2 weeks ago.
It's brilliant. But unfortunately, Sunday night, restrictions, there wasn't that many in, but we had a good night. But Winter Storm was a blind. I loved it.
Was Tom Russell there then, was he? He's the Radio Clyde DJ, does the rock show. Used to do the rock show.
Yeah, sorry, I beg your pardon. Yeah.
Big long beard. Yeah. Uncle Tom, we call him.
Lovely guy.
Nice guy, lovely guy.
Yeah,
so before I'd like to ask you about some music, but before we do that, I have to ask you this. I mean, you're very vocal on the health issues, Danny, and I admire that. And you've obviously had some real tragedy in your bands and family, etc., with cancer. Are you involved in charity work, or do you do? I think you do gigs, don't you, for it? But
we've done a few of them, but directly involved, but I do gigs. It's touched my life in many ways over the years. I should say family and friends. It's an awful fucking disease.
Oh, it's terrible. We spoke earlier, Danny, about you've got some live recordings that you're hoping to release on vinyl quite soon in the next year or so, a couple of years.
Hopefully.
Is there a track that you could recommend that we played from one of those, or you said you might be able to share one with us? Would that be possible?
Without being egotistical, I'll send you one of my tracks that I wrote, Midnight Satisfaction.
That would be terrific.
Well, actually, I'm recording new stuff at the moment with this new lineup. We've got 3 tracks done already. And we released a single in November called Electric Power with the new lineup.
I have to ask you to do this as well. I mean, from your Motorhead experience, what track do you think? What track do you think we should play to bring an end to this part of the show this week? What Motorhead track?
We are the Road Crew.
I knew you were going to say that. That's excellent. Oh, that's one of my favourite Motorhead songs, but it made a lot of sense given what you said earlier, Danny. So,
seeing how those guys behave, they deserve it.
Excellent.
They were great.
Well,
really
listen, Danny, it's been an absolute pleasure and an honour to have you on the show. You're well kent in the Apollo community, and thanks very much for sharing some of your memories of the grand old lady Glasgow Apollo. Thanks, Danny.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for having me, and good luck with the show.
Thank you. Well, that was very good, wasn't it?
That was very nice.
I enjoyed that.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Danny.
Danny's saying he got the release dates of the Weapon albums wrong. Danny, welcome to the Glasgow Apollo live show. We got our own names wrong half the time, mate. Never mind the release dates of albums. But yeah, and Danny has actually sent me that track. I'm not going to play it this week because I'm not had time to edit the video together. So we'll play it next week. But we will manage to play some Motorhead to close the show. But thanks for all the comments and stuff, guys. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. It was really nice meeting Danny. It was a real pleasure. So, and it's nice to get behind the scenes of what it's like to be in a band. And
I would be wondering about sound checks, and if I would have asked them about sound checks, and how much time you're sitting about waiting for Motorhead to make you feel sick.
Go on then, Danny. You're still there, mate. How long did you get for sound?
That would be quite a thing, just to have full force Lemmy playing a chord and brown.
Yes, there is actually. I think I mentioned
subsonic.
It's unbelievable.
Giblet.
Yes.
Disruption.
And if you'd not heard Weapons music, I think a lot of us were at that Motorhead gig, but I mean, I wasn't, unfortunately, but they're very good, I don't know if Danny's still there, but great band. And he was in that other, Paddy Goes to Braehead, is that the name of the band? They did a lot of gigs in
Hollywood.
No, Braehead or something, was it? No, tell us, Danny. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Paddy goes to Holyhead. Paddy goes to Holyhead.
Holyhead, not Braehead. There you go. At least I get the second name right now. But
you've got Naheed.
Naheed at all. James is saying Danny has no beef with anyone. He's there for the music. Absolutely, he is some guy. He's the weapon. So down to earth. That's lovely. Well said, James. Absolutely, I love that. And we're getting complimented on our tops here, mate. There you go. And finally, you need to be good to support Motorhead. Absolutely. And I only saw the original lineup twice. Once at the Apollo, and then I saw them. I think it was at Donington. I saw Motorhead as well. But anyway, not bad at all. So, folks, we've come to the end of the show. How long have we been on now, Andy? Oh, an hour and 10. Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. We're hoping that in the future weeks we're going to have other guests on that played in the Apollo stage. If you know anybody that you think would be good as a guest, it's going to be hard to beat Danny, but if you do know anybody, please get us in touch with them. I say we've got a few more lined up. I'm not going to tell you who they are yet because you just get it all sorted out. So, but we'd love to do that. If not every week, every couple of weeks would be great. Otherwise, we're going to have Andy doing his rundown of the gigs. So come on.
Could be worse. Is that the lesser of two evils, mate?
Well, there's some get Biff on for Saxon. There's not a bad idea. Good man. So you never know. Watch this space. You pay to get the names.
If it was Biff from Saxon, you just go, "Hi Biff, how are you?"
That'd be it.
Boom.
Aye.
And then he go, you know.
He's actually when he did that, he was going to do that spoken word tour like Bruce Dickinson did, wasn't he? Yeah. So we're gonna finish now. But just a reminder, the get together is on the 17th of June, tentatively. And I know a couple of people have gone, "Oh no, there was no way we're going to please everybody." This is only the first one. So hopefully we'll have another one at Christmas or something, so we can get the other folk that weren't able to come to the 17th. If you've bought a ticket and you can't make the 17th, once we finalise it, I'm hoping it'll be in the next couple of days. Let me know, and I'll send you a full refund, and with thanks from me and Andy. We totally understand. If you can't make it, we'll give you a refund. So, Andy, I think we should mention something else. T-shirts. How are you getting on with those T-shirts?
How am I getting on? Well, I don't know. People are liking them, I think.
Yeah.
And they're. I've not seen anything quite like them, so I think they're. What's the word I'm looking for? What's the word? I forgot the word, mate. I forgot the word. They're authentic to the. They're authentic. They're faithful. Sorry. The word is they're faithful to the ticket. I try my best to make them look as much. I mean, you can see that one there is the first draft of that, because it's different now. I changed it, so it looks a bit different now. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I tried to make them quite almost the same as the ticket. So
they're brilliant.
I'm not doing just a generic change the name and change the date. I'm trying to make it the same as the ticket, you know.
Yes. No,
it takes a bit of time, because I know people would like their own ticket, but
yeah,
I can do that, but you know, it'll cost you.
Yeah, 15 quid if you buy off the website. If you buy them from Andy, 250 quid plus postage.
Time is money, mate. Time is money.
Oh dear, but I think they're great, and I've not seen actually, as Bond's saying, they're unique, and they are. You know, I've not seen a T-shirt like that before. You maybe have. I've seen them doing full tickets on shirts before, but they don't. I think these look. Don't want to blow smoke up your ass either, but they're classy looking. I mean, they're actually really good looking.
They look not bad, don't they? Yeah, it's good how I like how I've got I like how I've got. I quite like the way the
look at me. Look at me.
The map is reversed like the ticket used to be.
Aye.
But one of the Ian Bamford, one of our esteemed viewers, he said maybe I could put the map on the back. I could, but it would cost a lot more, so I'm not going to do that. And if I did that, people would complain, because they only do the print from the double-sided front and back. They only do them from America. People are already, commenting that it's costing too much. I get it. It's expensive. If you don't have any money, that's fine.
Yeah, we had Andy and I had the conversation, because he's been working on them for a few weeks, actually. In fact, probably a few months. And we said just last week to each other, folk are going to ask for their gigs, their own individual gigs, and of course that's exactly what's happening. But you've did a few. You've got AC/DC and stuff like that coming, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I'll do them probably next week. I'll do the Quo from the live album tickets.
Brilliant.
So all you Quo aficionados there. I mean, I think they did 27 gigs at the Apollo, so 27 gigs I'd have to make. I don't know if I could do that, but I'll do it. And they usually did like 2 or 3 gigs.
Yes.
At least 2 gigs a week when they played 2 performances when they played. But yeah, it just takes time, folks, and and I'm going to try and do the posters as well, some posters too. So
you've done some crackers.
Yeah.
We'll
I mean, I've slipped a couple in on the comments, and no one said, "Hey, that's a repro."
That's a repro,
So no, you can't. You know, try my best to make them look as authentic as they can.
Oh, just every detail, you know, ning, 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 get that font right, ning, 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 need to notice it.
You're not wrong, mate. You are not wrong.
I know. Anyway,
there's a website where you can go to where you can upload a picture of the font you want. You don't know the name of, right? So I was like, oh, and you just upload a little picture of the font, and it does some magic. I don't know how it does it. It's magic. It's great.
It's an AI program. Yeah.
And then it comes up with fonts that are quite like that. So it's amazing. It's amazing.
It is amazing.
The interwebs.
But
here's Jared Kenny says, so you can get them with Iron Maiden or Saxon, UFO, MSG, and so on. Eventually, Jared. Eventually. Eventually, I'll get there. I'm working down the list, mate. It's a long list. 700 gigs. So
I would say just
700.
Just watch. Somebody will be copying that idea, mate, within the next 6 months. Honestly, we'll see folk copying it, no doubt about it. It's very difficult to stop it.
It's not mine. I mean, it's not mine. Yes, that's quite correct, Pete. I've used them quite a fair bit.
Yeah.
The font is good. It is very good. You're quite right.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I'm looking around and it'll be fine. I'll do maybe even do other gigs. I mean, there's a couple of ones that are. It's quite similar. Like the Clash and the Ramones, I think, did some gigs in Dundee. I think.
It did, Caird Hall. Yeah.
Or there's that. So that's quite similar. So I might, if I can do that. MSG, well done. What?
Oh.
Come on, Chris.
Oh dear. Right.
I thought it actually said message. So, I had to correct myself when I was reading it. I thought it said message.
Oh dear. So thanks very much for the feedback on the t-shirts. There's more on the way. So we're going to play some music now. Before there's a few comments I want to get to. We'll come, but the ones that aren't abusive, we'll come back to them. But Danny mentioned some of Weapons music, and he's also sent me a brilliant copy of a song, a version of Gang Bang that he's just done with his band. It's brilliant. So we're going to have to fit that in somehow as well, Andy, next week. But I want to play.
Will we get a strike from that?
Hopefully Danny will not let that happen, mate, because he just made it. So, but it's an exclusive. The first piece we've got from Danny is an exclusive, so it's not available anywhere. So I'm really excited about that. So we'll play that next week. But Danny asked us to play "We Are the Road Crew" by Motorhead. Now, I remember buying No Sleep Till Hammersmith. I think it was probably definitely my first 10 albums that I ever bought, and I played this song. I don't know what it was about it. I just played it over and over and over. Remember, I used to live in Miller Street. I don't know if you ever in that house of mine in Miller Street, in Carluke.
Yeah. 33 Miller Street.
Well done, mate. Bloody hell. Some memory for some things, haven't you? But so I used to sit up there with my...
It's the same number as what I lived in. That's how I remembered it.
Right. Okay. Very good. And I played it over and over again. I used to try and play along with it with my guitar, and I had this crappy old organ. I don't know if you remember that crappy old organ I used to have. I used to play the chords on there and put tape on them and play along to Motorhead. It was brilliant. So this is the Road Crew from the Glasgow Apollo. And there's a good...
Was it a Bon Tempi organ?
I think it might have been.
Glasgow! Hey, Glasgow! You sound like Leo Sayer! Glasgow! That is more like Glasgow as I have come to know it. This one is the swing of the road crew. Another town, another place, another girl, another place, another girl, another race. Another dream, I'm going mad, another night when I feel sad. No one's leaving, I feel bad. Driving like a vegetable, going round, another room with lazy bad. We are the road crew. backstage pass for you. Another tune with super glue. Another border to get through. Driving like a maniac. Driving way to hell and back. Another room I chase it back. We are the road crew. Let's do it. Turn, another urine not to learn. Another truck stop on the way. Another name I learned to play. Another word I learned to say. Another bloody customs post. Another fucking foreign coast. Another set of scars to boast. We are the road crew. You bet.
Do you like a bit of Motorhead? That was excellent, isn't it?
A palate cleanser.
It certainly is. It gets all the old moths out the head, because I think that's better than the No Sleep Till Hammersmith version. It's much rawer. Absolutely brilliant. Proper live, no editing, no shit going on there. Just the band as they really were. So absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So there's a few comments about various things we talked about tonight. Danny's interview has gone down really well. And actually, Danny, you mentioned Praying Mantis. I went and listened to the last 3 albums. Blinking heck, they're really good albums. They're not like what they used to be like. I wasn't ever a huge fan of them, but they're actually really quite proggy now. So they're right up my street. And you're right, the singer is an excellent singer. Really good singer.
Well, they had the proggy covers.
Aye, they did. Aye, almost yes-like, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were pretty good. So someone was asking there about how to become a member of the Apollo thing. Well, just go along to the Facebook group. Just type Glasgow Apollo into Facebook and you'll find the group called Glasgow Apollo. It's the only... there is a second one, I think, a tiny one, isn't it? But it's inactive.
I think if you're on this chat, you're already a member.
No, because you can come in from my Facebook, or you can just come in generally from Facebook, or from YouTube, or whatever. There was also some news, just Andy and I haven't had a chance to talk about it yet, but Twitch, another platform which some of you might have heard of, which is mainly a gaming platform, announced this morning that they've basically done a deal with the music companies where we can start playing bands' music on Twitch without getting hammered for copyright claims. Now, that might change everything. We're not planning to do it soon. We're on Twitch already. Hello, Twitch people. It's usually Andy that's the Twitch person, isn't it? Just you.
It's just one person, me.
Yeah.
But, I do watch a lot of people. It's not, when you say gaming platform, it's not a gaming platform. It's a platform for streaming people.
Aye. Well, that's
playing games and talking about games and talking about games. There's a lot of music on it and a lot of chat.
Yeah,
so I do like it because it's good. It's really good. It's the same as it's similar to this, but it's all in one.
Aye. It's really interesting. I mean, I've been getting my head around getting used to it.
You can subscribe to people. You can support them. It's great.
Yeah,
Great.
the quality of the streaming is fantastic. So you've been watching for the last hour and a half now, Glasgow Apollo Live with me, Scott MacArthur.
And me, Andy Muir.
If you have any questions or suggestions for us, we're always open to that. Always open to it. And you can get in touch with us by just in the comments here in the Facebook group, or you can send a message to apollomemories@yahoo.co.uk. But we're all over the place. It's dead easy to find us. We're always looking for stories. And now we're looking for more and more. We want more of you to contribute your video memories, and we want to record these because it's really, really important. So I enjoyed that this week, mate. That was really good.
It's good. It's good that we kept it into an hour.
Yeah. Again. But it was worth it to have Danny on for so long. It was brilliant.
Yeah. No, that was good. That was great. That was a great.
Really good. We're also
a good guy.
Nice guy. If there's any of you that are crazy enough, they want a bit more. If you're new, every week we have an after show party effectively where we go into Zoom. Now I'm just going to have to see if I can find. I think I deleted it last week. Hang on. What a numpty. I forgot to put it back on. Let me just get the address for you folks. So this is about, we basically go into Zoom for, it could be quite a few hours, just talking nonsense really. But it's quite cool. And we've got a nice group of people with a couple of new people last week, which was really nice. I'll just put it in the chat here. There you go. And if you can't find it, just go to the Facebook group and you'll find it there. If you can't find it there, find my name, Scott MacArthur or Andy Muir on Facebook, and just ask us and we'll send you the link. We quite often get folk asking us about various things. So thanks very much, folks. Thanks for Pete over on YouTube. Good to see someone coming over from YouTube. It's really nice. And we'll be back next week. And hopefully some of you can join us on Zoom because it's always great fun. So it's good night from me. My name's Scott MacArthur.
And it's good night from me. And my name's Andy Muir. Thank you.
And now I'm trying to find the outro video, which I've now found. Right. We'll see you on Zoom. Good night. And thanks very much once again to Danny Hines for coming on and doing an absolute stonking interview. See you next week, folks.
See ya.